there is a powerful piece of propaganda that's been pushed within the quote unquote black community that states the following. Black people are disproportionately affected by police brutality. Or in simpler terms, black folks are being hunted down in the streets by racist white cops. Now, the reason why I say that this is propaganda is not because there aren't incidences where this is happening, but statistically speaking, the people who've actually done the work of studying this specific subject and getting the accurate data, well, time and time again, they come up with the exact same result. There is no discrepancy between what white people and what black people are experiencing when it comes to how police officers are dealing with them. Now, what is true is that the propaganda machine, the one that looks to continue to create this race baiting narrative, the one that essentially is looking to find its way to continuously divide and conquer, making black folks angry and angrier and having them attack white folks and then essentially create greater conflict. What they sell us is that if you're black, let's say driving while black, which is probably what I'm going to label this video. If you are driving while black, you're going to find yourself most likely Swiss cheesed, bullet holes all in the car. That's just, it comes with the territory of being black in America. And so that being said, I just wanted to bring this video to all of our awareness. I have not watched the entirety of it, but I've seen enough to know that it is directly connected to this point and to hammer home this point, which is there's no need to be afraid if you know how the hell to act. Simple as that. So let's get into, well, that's going to be our next video, but let's get into this one right here. All right.
All right, check it out. I just got pulled by GSP doing 51 and a 35. No big deal. I'm thinking, okay, speeding ticket, whatever. Usual old thing. Guy comes up to the window. I'm already prepared. I'm fishbowl. I don't got no tints for real. Both of my windows rolled down. I got registration, insurance, license already ready in the portfolio, like in the old school, like a billfold. I got that right there on my steering wheel. So right when he come up, he comes to the window. I'm chilling, hands on the steering wheel. Everything is right there. You can see it. White cop, probably like 50, 60 something. I could tell off the rip he cool. All I got to do is be cool, and I'm going to get a warning. So you come up, he say, reason why I pulled you over, speeding. Like, kind of like matter of fact. Because he could tell off the rip, I'm not one that trying to be aggressive and fight. He's just going to be matter of fact with me, and it's going to be easy traffic stop.
This is so key. If you're not emitting that hostile energy, like I'm not saying you can't be afraid or panicked or whatever. I'm sure whatever ethnicity you are, you don't like to be pulled over by the police. You feel some type of way when you see those blue and red lights behind you. I get that. But if you're willing to comply, and there's a part of me, the rebellious aspect of me that says, well, but why do you have to do that? This is just another human being. The reason you have to do that is because this is an individual who essentially has a responsibility of mitigating threats all day long. That's what police officers do, right? To do the very best to mitigate threats. Now, are they those who are corrupt? Absolutely. Are there some who essentially look to use that power to manipulate and coerce, and those who may have psychopathic tendencies? Yes. But they are few and far between. Most cops, most people who get into that space genuinely want to do a good job. They want to do what is best for themselves, obviously, but also for the next individual, right? You oftentimes don't find somebody who really wants to be a cop, who is not a sociopath or whatever it may be, who doesn't want to do it for people, right? Maybe something happened in your life and that brought you into that life path. Maybe you, had a parent who was in law enforcement and you saw the difference they made, or, there was a connection there for you. There was some sort of social service aspect that pulls you in, because the fact of the matter is there are an infinitum, 1,000 other jobs that you could do that would not put you in the line of fire in that type of way, that will put you in danger to where you could lose your life every single day. It is a very dangerous occupation. So if you're chilling, oftentimes they're chilling. And yeah, people can have a bad day, even if they're a cop. But I've gotten in a multitude of situations, more than a handful, where I've gotten essentially just a little slap on the wrist. Please, next time, don't do X, Y, and Z. I've gotten multiple situations like that. Few cases where I actually got a ticket and I never was sent to prison, and I damn sure wasn't Swiss cheesed. So
when she tells me that, I say, how fast was I going? Not in a confrontational way, but just kind of like curious, like, how fast was I going? He said, well, you were going 51, and then there was 2 warning signs. I'm like, all right, that's my fault. My fault. He goes back. He comes back, and he gives me a warning. No ticket. Be on your way. You know, have a nice day. Thank you. And that's it. I'll go about my business. No problem. And that's always the case when I get pulled over. I almost never get a ticket. The last time I got a ticket, I might have been maybe early 20s, something like this. And it was because I had an expired registration at a checkpoint. If not for that, I don't get speeding tickets. I don't speed crazy out of control. I will go fast only when the time calls for it. But normally, I'm going to be chilling. Moral of the story is, if you keep getting pulled over, you in Georgia, Virginia, Florida, New York, California. Well, California's different. But definitely Georgia, GSP. Especially up here like North Georgia. If you cool, they cool. That's usually how it goes. If you want to start acting up, wilding out, bucking on the cop for no reason, that's when you get tickets. That's when you get arrested. That's when you get locked up. I ain't never been arrested, never been locked up, because I know how to behave. And I think if more of us as people, especially black people, thought that way, we'd be in a lot better place.
Facts. And that's the key point right there. And it's unfortunate because, you know, when we do hear these tragic tales of, you know, a police officer taking a young black man, a young black woman's life, in more cases than not, outside of the narrative that is being pushed by the propaganda machine, what you oftentimes find is either they were dealing with somebody who was a criminal, somebody who was intoxicated, somebody who was an immediate danger and threat. That's obviously not pushed out as the main story. I would put my money on this to say there are less than 1 in 100 of these cases where it's genuinely somebody who just wanted to take that person's life. Genuinely. I'm talking about like some, you know, some real just I just want to target you. I want to take your life and that. So I would say it's less than 1 in 100 of these cases. Dare I say 1 in a damn 1,000. But yet when you raise your kids with the mentality that says be afraid of the police, they are your enemy, even more so than just fear. They are your enemy. They're out to get you, which is a mentality that's been pushed for quite a while, right? F the Police is a song that was put out nearly 40 years ago at this point in the 80s by NWA. F the Police. That was what was getting conditioned into these kids. And again, you could say, well, look what was happening to them. They were being targeted. They were being disproportionately targeted. They were being profiled only because they were black. And to that, I'd say, is it possible that that was the after effect or a byproduct of the way in which the community was already expressing itself? Is it possible? You know, we can get into the conversation, well, the CIA left, you know, drugs and guns in the neighborhood and they did it. We can get into all that, and that's perfectly fine. And I would refute that to say, well, why is it that it was this community that was susceptible to it? Why is it that no other communities at that same scale were that affected by it? Fact of the matter is, because they're already broken households, there was already, I guess, a stripping away of the father in the household, a disincentivization. And then we get into feminism or second wave feminism, third wave feminism. Then we get into the Great Society, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and the democratic policies that led to that. But when we get to the individual level, parent by parent, you have the opportunity to either say to your child, look, when you're dealing with individuals like this, people whose job it is to serve and protect, people who are likely on edge because all day long they are dealing with the most severe of cases. chill the hell out. Chill. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. You don't got to go off. If you have something on you, it's better off to actually tell them. It's better to, I know this sounds crazy because, maybe some people are active criminals out there. That sounds crazy to you. But if you're a law-abiding citizen, look, I got a license to carry. I got some in my glove compartment right now, right? Maybe you're somebody who's on the loud pack. Look, I got this and this and this in the car right now. If you're not committing crimes, you should not be afraid to express what the hell is going on. And they will deal with you accordingly, and it will be an easier process if you're not so combative. That's the thing that gets so many people in trouble. And again, it breaks my heart to see it, but it's like, man, you didn't have to get into these situations. You didn't have to get, locked up. I had a buddy of mine. I remember when we're young and we're at the beach. We trespassed a place and whatnot. And when we left, we saw a security guard kind of chasing after us. And me and my boy, there's three of us, me and my boy, we stopped. We said, you know what? We got to deal with the consequences of this because police get called or whatever. And sure enough, our buddy, he was nowhere to be seen for quite a while. We waited. It was almost 45 minutes later. Turns out that he had got locked up. He was in a holding cell because he kept running. Police were called. He kept running. This dude. Chill the hell out. It is not that deep. It is not that, well, it can be that serious, but don't let it go there. You're speeding. Best case scenario or worst case scenario, you get a ticket. But if you're tripping, worst case scenario is that might be your life. Is it worth it? Absolutely the hell not. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.